Okay, this is the day. So I'm going to say this is the set day, and you understand the power of preparing for something so much, and then all of a sudden, you do not even know that it's upon you. And this is my way of saying today is upon us. Good evening, everyone, and you are welcome. All right, my name is Melanie Ishola. I'm the convener, Women's Square Africa, and I am super grateful for all the helps that we have enjoyed from the speakers, from everyone who has reached out to us to say, well done. This is a great vision. You guys are doing so great. I really would like to say that sometimes the preparation is daunting, but you just keep saying to yourself, it is worth it. The course is worth it. Just keep going. It is worth it. And that's our way of saying thank you. My entire team is grateful that you made it with us right here. And indeed, while we are saying thank you, again, it is very important that I indeed reel out and make everyone who's right on understand what we are here to do. Today's webinar is themed Female Genital Mutilation, the Girl Child, and the Future. And somebody is wondering, why is it so? It is so because at the end of the day, we have to look at how to niche down in the arena of sexual and gender-based violence. When we talk sexual and gender-based violence, essentially we realize that a lot of people seemingly just throw a blanket. And some people don't even understand that female genital mutilation, for example, is sexual and gender-based violence. So a minute, please. I'm told that the room is full. Excellent. So the room is now full. Whoever is in the room should please not join. The room is now full. Okay, thank you everyone who's joined and is watching, listening to all that we are saying. For those who just joined, again, my name is Melanie Ishola, and I'm welcoming you to the debut of Women's Square Africa. Many people have equally asked what we intend to do with this. When my team and I were putting it together, it's our intention for us to be able to talk about the purpose, the pains, the plight, the destiny of the woman in Africa. And we realize that we cannot do that if we do not have dedicated platforms like this where we can essentially speak to it. So top on the agenda for us is female genital mutilation, and we can't be happier than to have started this conversation talking female genital mutilation. So again, you are welcome. I quickly want everyone to give a round of applause to every of the team Don't Cut Her. You're here right now. Please, a round of applause to team Don't Cut Her. And that is how we get this started very quickly. I understand that all of our speakers are now on. I really would like to apologize. One of our speakers cannot make it. As I yesterday, she was still making preparations, even though she was a bit under the weather. But as of today, she's had to be on bed rest, and so she cannot join us. So again, this is it. This is it. So now that we are started, I'd like to quickly say that we're opening the floor, and it's already been opened. And to essentially get us started, I'm going to be yielding the floor over to T. Oluwalope Abraham. Before I do that, I quickly want to talk to everybody who's joined as speakers today. So our speakers for this webinar are, and I'm going to Kenya first, and you would understand, in Africa, we like to treat our guests very well and with honor. And because this is being hosted in Nigeria, we're all Africans, but because this is being hosted in Nigeria, we have to give honor to our sisters who have joined us all the way from Kenya. And I've got to say, Asante Sana for the good welcome and treatment I received this month, last month, November. in Kenya. Thank you so much. Karibu Sana, you did so well. And that's my way of introducing Dr. Pamela Kethuru. Dr. Pamela Kethuru joins us from Kenya. She's a researcher, psychologist. Next up, we have Caroline Titia. Caroline Titia is an FGM awareness advocate. She equally joins us. And now I am bringing it home. And to bring it home, we have joining us Princess Victoria Adetono. She's an FGM survivor and founder Rural People Development Initiative. And that's a local, not local in the sense that it is based in a rural environment. By all means, international, global in approach. Rural People Development Initiative has partnered with a lot of foreign NGOs, bodies, individuals, even media, to talk female genital mutilation and other SGBV issues that Ruperdin advocates. Speaking of that, I would quickly like to say that next up is my dear sister, Oluyemi Orija. Now, when I had said she was my sister, people say, Anna, you brought your sister. No, actually, she looks so young, but she's a very powerful African woman. I call her my mentor now. And today was the first time I said to her that, Oluyemi, you know you're my mentor, right? And that was when I introduced her to Dr. Pamela earlier. And the reason is Oluyemi made the 100 most influential women in Africa last year when the BBC did the rating. This is big. It doesn't just come on anyone like that. And Oluyemi is the founder, Headford Chambers and Headford Foundation. So again, everyone, thank you for joining us. And this is where I yield the floor over to Tioluwalope Abraham. Tioluwalope Abraham is a nurse, and she's a very passionate member of the Don't Cut Her family. Oh, I seem to have Mohammed and not Tioluwalope at this juncture. Okay, so Mohammed, we're going to yield this floor over to Tioluwalope. All right, so Tioluwalope is joining in a bit, and she's able to take on the platform as it's already been scheduled. Tioluwalope will be taking us very quickly on the brief on 16 days of activism, and that's right, she's right here. She's taking us on the brief. She's talking on the girl child, which is the crux of this conversation, and she's taking us on the brief of the 16 days of activism. And I would really like for everyone to please, with a clap ovation, make room for Tioluwalope Abraham right here. Tioluwalope, please open up your videos. Let's see you. Tioluwalope right there. We can see your video. Open up, let's see your pretty face. Okay, Tioluwalope, open up your video. Your time is now up. So while we are waiting on her, I'm assuming there is an issue. While we're waiting on her, what I would do is essentially to resume. I hope it's not a network again. Oh, okay. Please get back in. She was logged out. Okay. Please get back in, Tioluwalope. So while we're waiting on her, let's use this time productively. So in using this time productively, I quickly want to talk to the female genital mutilation issue itself. A lot of people would say, why do you guys keep shouting female genital mutilation over and again? And this is why. You'd realize that a lot of people do not see female genital mutilation as violence. And we intend to be able to show to you today that female genital mutilation is violence. I'd like to begin by getting us up to speed with the definition of female genital mutilation according to the World Health Organization. It is the altering or injuring of the female genitalia, the external part of the female genitalia, right? Any injury caused to it that has no known health benefit to the woman. That is female genital mutilation. And indeed, while this definition is paraphrased by me, I didn't quote it verbatim. I need everyone who is imagining why would anyone even cause any harm or danger to the female genitalia. Well, there are a lot of reasons, and we'll get to it in this webinar. Very quickly, I like to speak to the lacuna that exists between what we're trying to achieve, and that's what the United Nations set out to achieve by instituting the International Day of Zero Tolerance for Female Genital Mutilation. The plan is that this would be the decade of action, and that by all sorts of partnerships and by all sorts of concerted efforts advocating, we're able to reach the goal of the elimination of female genital mutilation by 2030. But a report here by UNFPA makes clear that we cannot even achieve this goal by 2030 if we do not go 10 times faster. Wow, somebody says, wow. We need to go 10 times faster. So if we are going 10 times faster, then we are able to achieve it. Okay, so to go 10 times faster, then we are able to achieve it. All right, Mohammed is yielding the floor over to Tioluwalope. So please join Tioluwalope so that we can do this now. All right, so Tioluwalope is joining now, and she's taking us on her own part of the conversation. Okay, while we have Tioluwalope join, I was still speaking to the whole essence of why we're doing this. So when they say 16 days of activism, we thought that the easiest way for us to do this was to zero in on female genital mutilation, right? And so we are doing this to essentially allow us understand this. Please, I'm a bit distracted. Just give me 30 seconds. Mohammed, okay. Let me check that we have. Okay, Mohammed, please allow Tioluwalope join. I do not know if you can hear me. Please allow Tioluwalope join now. And that's why you seem to be going off, okay? So you'll be off now so that Tioluwalope can join first. Did you get that now, Mohammed? Thank you. Okay, so I think the issue seemed to be sorted now, and Tioluwalope can now join. Okay, now that's sorted, and we await Tioluwalope's joining. I want to make a wrap on what I was talking about. And essentially for us, when we talk 16 days of activism, we understand it is a time for everybody to put their feet on the ground and do the work that is needed. When you equally consider the theme for this year, you are asking yourself, what more can we do than is already being done? How can we quickly achieve this and ensure that everybody, right, is doing their bit, especially where ending female genital mutilation is concerned? You may say it's because it affects me directly. Indeed, it does affect me directly, and we'll get to that as this goes on. But again, that is what inclusion is about. Because it affects me directly, I'm able to lend the rope out to other girls who needn't go through what I'm having to go through, and other women, millions of us across, millions actually, across Africa, who are having to deal with the side effect, the aftermath, the effects, the dangers of female genital mutilation. Now, we have looked at how we are talking to investing. Let me check to see that Tioluwalope is in. Otherwise, we would move past it and then she can join us later, so we do not waste too much time. Okay. Yes, she's right on. She's right on. Okay, good to have you, Tioluwalope. Let's have your video on and let's have your presentation quickly. I know it's been a struggle. Thank you for being so persistent. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mark. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for your patience. Okay, so I'll just go right into it. So we are commemorating the 16 days of activism. It started on November 25th, and it runs through to the 10th of December. And 25th of November is actually the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, and then down to 10th of December, which is Human Rights Day. Now, combine the two, we are talking about eliminating violence against women, and women includes both older women, that's adults, and then the girl child, and also speaking up for the rights of the girl child, speaking up for the rights of the women. But for today, we're focusing on the girl child. So, what is the girl child? The girl child is a biological female that is between birth to 18 years old, and we know that the girl child, especially in the context of our geographical location, considering Africa generally, the girl child is exposed to a lot of disadvantages, a lot of things that we need to speak about, a lot of things that go against the rights of the girl child, a lot of things that stand as violence against the girl child, both including physical abuse, sexual abuse, denial of access to education, denial of access to quality food, nutrition, exposure to early marriages and all that. And those are the things we're speaking about, even in these 16 days of activism. But for today, especially, we're speaking about and against female genital mutilation. This is a menace that is rooted in an age-long practice. It is rooted in culture, but it's also rooted in gender-based violence and gender inequality. The reasons why many people still practice this particular violence against the girl child has no benefits to the girl child in any way. And it just stays rooted there because many people are not speaking about it. It might seem in our gathering, it might seem that okay, a lot of people actually know about it and a lot of people are speaking about it, but no, that's not the case. Because I remember last year when I went to a particular state and I was speaking to a literate and an educated person. She was saying she would still do it for her grandchildren, that once her children give birth, she will still do it for her grandchildren, her girl children. You can imagine. So I think it is a cry, it is a call for us to lift our voices, to raise voices. Part of the theme for this year's 16 days activism also speaks to raising resources, and resources includes human resources, financial resources, intelligence resource, every resource that we can raise to fight this menace of focus group, this menace of female genital mutilation. It's something that we must fight together. We must raise voices, create awareness, and part of the resource that we need is the legal resource. Bring in the law, bring in the law agency, the law enforcement agency, everything that we can use to fight this menace so that we can protect our future. We're talking about the girl child, the future. This are our future. The girl child is our future, is the future of the woman race, and we must do everything we can to protect, because the disadvantages of this particular menace, female genital mutilation, is a lot to the human race, to women, to girls, and so it's something that we must all raise our voices to. And I believe this is one of the reasons why we have this program, and in commemoration of also the 16 days of activism. So we're raising our voices together, and I believe and I look forward to a future where the girl child is free from harm, free from violence, free from discrimination, free from gender-based violence. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm really glad to be here. Thank you once again. I would like to hand over to the next speaker. Thank you.
Wow, come on. Thank you so much, Tiolu Alope. That really was something. That was fantastic. Awesome. And I think that now that you have set the foundation for us, we can begin just in earnest. Not to waste our time, I would like to yield the floor over to our very first speaker. And speaking of our first speaker is none other than an amazing, well, when I say amazing, it's not because I'm looking for a word to use. So Dr. Kaithuru says, also there is Titia. You should talk to Titia. You should get Titia on this webinar. I believe, but let me talk to her first. And very quickly, she came back and says, Oh, she's happy to join. And then I reached out to Titia, and the energy has been 100 upon 100 since we met. Titia is an FGM awareness advocate based in Kenya. She's very global in her approach, and we are having a cross-border collaboration today to be able to talk about the plight of the woman. Essentially, you look at how we're talking FGM as an issue in Nigeria, and we can go as far as a country like Kenya, and we equally still have to talk FGM. Now, there is the 28 too many nations of Africa where female genital mutilation right now is ongoing. And essentially, there is no way we can talk to ending female genital mutilation if we do not collaborate. So for those who are wondering, why bring Kenya into this? In fact, we're going to bring so many other countries into conversations like this because it concerns all of us. In the spirit of that, please, ladies and gentlemen, make welcome with me my amazing and delectable sister from Kenya, Caroline Titia. And that is the drum rolling. And that is the drum rolling. Pam, 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 pam. That is the drum rolling. Pam, 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 pam. That is the drum rolling. Good to have you, Caroline. Good evening, Caroline. Caroline, we're waiting. I understand you're now on. I do not, I hope that's not your network. It's time for you to speak now, Caroline. You have the floor. Now you have the floor, Caroline. Hello, Caroline. Can you hear me? Hello, Caroline. Hi. Caroline. Oh, I'm not sure she can. I am not sure that she can. Okay, so while I'm trying to figure out how to ensure that Caroline's audio is on point and we're able to get this started, I'm over to Princess V.O. Adetono. Princess V.O. Adetono is the founder of Rural People Development Initiative, which is based in Oyo State, Nigeria. Essentially, the local government area with the highest prevalence of female genital mutilation is the Kajola local government area. When I started to talk about female genital mutilation as a journalist doing a film on female genital mutilation, Mama Rupedin, as I love to call her, that's what I call her fondly, Mama Rupedin was instrumental to that success, but that's not the biggest deal. The biggest deal was in 2020 when I met her before the lockdown, the prevalence of female genital mutilation in Kajola local government area was 98%. What this means is that if you were born in this local government area, you would be caught because your chances of not being caught was only 0.2. Am I correct? Right. Now, as of last year, during 2022, zero tolerance, during 2022, 16 days of activism, took another journey with my team. Khadijat is not here today, but she was a part of the team that traveled last year. And we went back to Mama. She took us round to the rural leaders, the market women, and we spoke to them again. And UNICEF had just said that the prevalence of female genital mutilation, as at last year, 16 days of activism, had gone down to as low as 92%. You're possibly thinking 6% is really small. Yes, 6% cut is really small, but that is a huge one for us to celebrate. And that is my way of welcoming and bringing on board Mama Rupedin, Princess Victoria O. Adetono, who amongst other actors in that community and within the state government are instrumental to bringing about the said change. And it's a lot talked about change. Good evening, Mama.
Good
And good to
evening.
have you.
Good evening, ma.
Good evening.
Good
Good evening,
evening.
Mama. Good to have you.
I'm
Yes, good
happy.
evening. We can hear you.
I am happy to be part of this program. As you have
Yes,
introduced
please.
me, I am Princess Mrs. Adeton of Victoria, the founder and the executive director of Rural.
Okay. I cannot hear Mama, but I think that may be a network. Okay, that may be a network. Good. That may be Mama's network.
People Development Initiative, Ishemile.
Go ahead, Mama. We
Hello?
can hear you now.
All
Yes, we can
right.
hear you now. Go ahead, Mama.
Uh-huh. I said that the initial objective of rural people development is really to work for women. Anything that affects women is my concern. So, and I've started on that since, helping women on their businesses, providing small loan to them. And this FGM, when it started, I was one of the NGOs invited to Abuja when Madam Jonathan was there to launch this female genital mutilation.
Okay. I should think that is Mama's network. We're just going to have to be a bit patient. Thank you, everyone who has joined. We acknowledge you. I can see the numbers rising. Thank you. Please continue to tell your friends, to tell their friends to join this webinar. This is where it's happening. I promised that a lot of questions that you've had about female genital mutilation would be answered. So I believe that's Mama's network, and she'll be right back right when the network releases her. I hope we don't continue to talk about network and
And I am very
internet
happy
issues.
that me.
Yes, we lost you for a bit. If you can go back by 30,
Hello.
30 seconds, Mama. Please go back by 30 seconds. We can hear you, Mama. We lost you for a moment. Go on, Mama. Go on, Mama. Go on, Mama. Oh, goodness. Oh, okay. I do not want to interrupt again, continue to talk, and then she comes right on. I believe she's still talking. We just cannot hear her. Mama, okay, that must be network. Okay, uh, Mama Detono just left the webinar. I believe she would join us shortly, and then we're able to quickly conclude on this conversation. So while we await Mama Detono, I believe it's a good time for us to have a seeming, and it is not seeming. So in 20, just to corroborate what she was saying, in 2020, I said I took a journey. And so on the journey, I'd like to quickly show us exactly what we produced, right? So to show us what we produce, I'd like for us to get on to this. So I need everybody to please watch this. It is barely 1 minute. I guess it's taking just almost a minute, right? And I'm sharing this with us now while we work on getting Princess VO Adetono right on. And this gives me this. All right, let's go. Okay, thank you, everyone. And that is it. So essentially, that is wow. Did you watch that, please? Did you watch that, please? I'd like to see in the comment section if you saw that. I'm bringing Dr. Pamela on now. No video yet. Oh, did you see any video on? Dr. Pamela, did you see any video come on? Oh, no video came on.
No.
Did any video
From
come
my
on?
side, I didn't see anything. No.
Okay, let's go. Let's go do it again. That must have been some issues with that. Okay, I did. All right, let's do this. Screen. Oh, okay. I was told again that my screen still didn't share. Let me look at another way to do this. Let me add a source, local video storage. So I guess I'm just going to work on resharing it. I don't know what went wrong. That video was okay, but you know what they say, we don't give up. So while we're waiting on that, let's just okay, so I think there is something I can do in the meantime. Let's share something, and this would be a snippet into what we're going to see also very shortly. All right, and that is this. Okay. Please let me understand that you can see the screen being shared right now. Can you see the screen being shared now, Dr. Pamela? Can you see any screen being shared now? Not again. Did you see anything, Dr. Pamela?
No.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Have you activated your screen share? Is
I
it
have.
active?
I did everything. It is active. I did everything I should do. So let's just get the conversation on. So Mama Rupedin is here. Let me yield the floor over to her and let her continue to have this conversation with us. So Princess Adetono, please go ahead with your presentation. I was trying to keep everyone's attention while we lost you. Hello? Mama, let's have you on now. Princess Adetono, okay, please.
Can you hear me?
You can go ahead now.
Can you
Yes,
hear me
we
now?
can.
All right.
Yes, we can.
I have stated the work done in Kajola local government. I said we are working tirelessly at the Kajola local government to see that all the communities in Kajola local government put an end to female genital mutilation. Why are we doing this? We could observe that one of the reasons that is causing problem in marriages now is the issue of sex, and there is nothing behind it rather than this mutilation, because that mutilation does not allow the husband to enjoy their wives for and we could see that unless we that uh, have passed through this menace should try as much as possible to help our young ones so that they can enjoy their marriages, they can enjoy their time, they can enjoy their lives. So we are working towards the future of our girls. So I want to appeal to the African sector that we should join hands together to see that this menace becomes a thing of the past. Not only that, we have to try all our possible best to work towards the eradication of female genital mutilation. I am happy when you were talking the other time, I mean Melanie, you said that with last result that Kajola has reduced and the percentage is better than what we have been having before. It is because we are working from house to house, from community to community, and from churches to mosques to societies, preaching, telling them the evil effect of this female genital mutilation and violence against women. Hello? Hello? Hello?
I am right here. I am right
Hello?
here, Mama. Hello, Mama. We can hear
Can
you.
you?
Go on. Go on.
you
Yes, we can. We can. Go on.
Even recently, we are working in 4 communities now, and by the special grace of God, we are no open declaration is coming up for the 4 communities tomorrow. The Baale, the community leaders, the law enforcement agencies, and all other dignitaries in the communities are being invited for that program. It is a joint program in collaboration with the UNFP, the CCPRH of UCH, then the Oyo State government, especially the Ministry of Women Affairs, that we are working together. So that is the extent we could go now. We still have other communities to reach, but as at now, we are at 4 communities. Maybe you have questions to ask, or you see.
Okay, Mama, thank you so much for everything that you have said. Yes, I will just ask a few questions. What are these 4 communities? I'd like you to mention the names of these 4 communities who are coming together for that declaration tomorrow. And also, I want you to share your personal pain from being a victim of female genital mutilation. We want people to understand from a human angle point of view. Somebody would imagine that as old as you are, you mean that Mama still suffers the pain of female genital mutilation? Yes. Mama represents another generation. I, Melanie, represent another generation. But interestingly, this singular thing unites us. Mama is mutilated. I am also mutilated. And so we need to talk about how these things affect us for people to understand the danger of female genital mutilation. Thank you so much, Mama.
Thank you so much. I have said something about that. Maybe it's because of the network. but I have to repeat it. No, I said that this female genital mutilation has affected me. If not, my husband loves me. We don't, if you come to our family, you see that this is a very peaceful family. But when it comes to night or whenever my husband proposes to me to have sex, that is the time we usually put it on. We are not in a good mood anymore because of the pains I will be encountering when having sex. So my husband thought I am just using that system to punish him. He doesn't know what I am passing through. We are having sex. Hello? 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 Hello?
Go ahead, Mama. We can hear you, Mama. We can hear you loud and clear. We can hear you. And while you speak to that also, I want you to talk to the idea that, you know, you had shared with me that you had equally mutilated your girls before you knew about this. So, I mean, how now do you translate this to your own grandchildren? Who are the girls that we are talking about here? That is the future that we are talking about on this webinar. We can't hear you again. Mama, unmute yourself. We cannot hear you. Can you hear? Please speak now, Mama. We can hear you now.
All right.
We can hear you.
All of my grandchildren that are child are not mutilated. Since I have known the repercussion and I've seen the repercussion, so I didn't encourage my daughters to be mutilated because they are my future. I want them to enjoy their lives. I want them to enjoy their marriage. So the more reason I don't allow them to pass through the rigor I am passing through. If not that my husband loves me, we should have been departed because of sex. And you know, it is not easy for me. I don't enjoy sex. It's a hard time for me when my husband comes to me. So I mustn't put that yoke on my grandchildren again, especially the girls. We don't mutilate them. So, and I don't encourage anybody to mutilate their girls anymore, especially this time of the day we are. Hello? And the 4 communities we are having declaration tomorrow are Igboga community, Olele community, Bode community, and Belekale community, all in Kajola local government. Those are the 4 communities.
Thank you, Mama.
Already we've worked in 3 communities. We've worked at Ishemile community, Imia community, and Ilua community, making 7 communities out of the 16 communities we are having in Kajola local government. We are still appealing to you people that you should come to our aid so that we can go around all the communities in that local government. We want them to hear it by themselves, not them say, not they said. We want them to hear it and know the havoc and the evil effect of female genital mutilation. There is no gain in it. We want them to know. We are calling on other funders or helpers who could join hands with us to see that in Kajola local government we have 0% on FGM.
Thank you, Mama. I love your spirit. I love your energy. And this is what I've got to say. On the comment section, please say thank you to Princess Victoria Adetono, the founder and the director of Rural People Development Initiative. Mama has said a lot. She has spoken, opened up even about her own life. And I think that is a lot to do when you share from your own pain. And you can understand when she tells you she goes from community to community. Thank you, Mama. in my own hall of fame, I pray I become so great. You have a space there in the name of Jesus. Let me just put it that
Amen.
way because that's the prayer.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. For a rural woman to be seen throughout the world now, and for a rural woman to be speaking the local English language. So thank you very much for accommodating me for this program. God bless you all. And
Mama,
I want to thank my sisters
amen.
from other countries too. I want to thank them very much. Dr. Caroline and
Dr.
Dr.
Pamela.
Pamela. So is I am very happy to meet you, great people of the world. The Lord bless you as we are struggling to see that women are free from all these dangers. The dangers will not come to us in Jesus' name. And we will work,
Amen.
we will achieve our aims in Jesus' name. Thank you and God bless you all.
Amen. Thank you so much. This is a village meeting. And I think that is what I was here to tell everyone. The idea of Women Square Africa is a village meeting of women all over Africa and across the world. African women who live all over the world, because essentially the story of one woman is the story of all women. That is
Yes.
the philosophy we run on in this
Okay.
advocacy. The
Okay.
story of one woman is the story of all women. Other women may not have been mutilated, but they know a woman or know another woman who has been mutilated. And there are other forms of sexual and gender-based violence that they also go through. Once again, Mama, thank you. We're grateful. All right, so that ends the session of Princess Victoria Adetono. And very quickly, I'd like to take, you'd be wondering why we want to go the way of law. I love when Tioluwalope Abraham, a team member of Don't Carter Initiative, had started to talk, and then she spoke around how we are concerned about the girls, because for us women and ladies, older or younger, who have been mutilated yet, the impact already lives with us. We are finding ways around it. We are working around it at best. That's what we can do. The deed has been done. But can we not have this done to girls who are about to be born? So to take us further, I quickly like to take Oluyemi Orija. Oluyemi Orija, as I said earlier, is a lawyer. She's the founder at Fort Chambers. And the interesting thing about Oluyemi is she does work at Headfort Foundation pro bono. And what she does in Nigeria is that she goes about freeing inmates from our correctional centers, representing them in the court of law free of charge. I think this is really massive. And beyond massive, this is what women can do. And it is why we want the future of the next generation of girls to actually be free of such inhibition like female genital mutilation. Lastly, I'd equally like to say that she's talking to us on the law and female genital mutilation. People may wonder, essentially, if we speak to the effects of FGM like this, what then are we doing? What then is the law doing? In a place like Nigeria, she's able to open us up to what the law is doing. Good evening and welcome, Oluyemi Orija. So good to have you this afternoon, dear sister.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me. I mean, I'm learning on this. Listening to Mama is very expository for me. And I haven't come from a local and a village like Ekiti State. I am from Omo in Ekiti. And this was very, very prevalent growing up. And, unfortunately, I'm not too certain that this kind of education is going on over there. And I think this is the kind of work we have to do and take this conversation to nationwide, especially to those local areas where this is majorly happening on a daily basis. So this brings me to the law and what the law in Nigeria is saying, or what our government actually have been doing when it comes to female
Thank you.
and to before I even go into that, I'd say sometimes in 2019, yeah, I was, I was approached by an organization that got a report that a young girl of 13 was about to be mutilated somewhere in Ogun State, in a rural community in Ogun State. And I volunteered to go there and speak about the law And you know, this girl was in the city in Lagos as an house help, unfortunately. And the person that she was with, she was told to send the girl back home because they have to do this mutilation on her. And she understood the consequence of it, then approached a civil society organization that took it up. We went to the village, and that gave us the avenue of talking to the head of that community. We educated them on the consequence. In fact, they have a lot of superstition around this. Like as a young girl, if you're not being caught, you don't get to, they said a whole lot of things, very weird stuff, and I'm like, really? So, but I
Honestly.
having that opportunity to talk to them and saving that one girl, it was huge for me that our conversation was able to save that girl of being caught. And so I think we all have so much more to do when it comes to female genital mutilation. So I'll give a little background to the Nigerian justice system or the Nigerian legal system. So the way Nigeria is we have a federal government. The federal government makes law, but that law is not automatically executed by every other state. We have 36 states in Nigeria, including FCT, the Abuja. So laws that are made by the National Assembly, which is the federal law agency, the legislative arm of government, is only applicable in Abuja. So for every other state, for that law to be binding on every other state, the state must first of all domesticate that particular law made by the federal government. So in 2015, the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act was passed to law and assented to by the then president, which Mama also made mention of, the president Jonathan. The law was assented to, but at the time there were difficulty right back and forth on some state domesticating that particular law. But thankfully, as of today, I think about 30 to 32 states have already domesticated that law. The states that are remaining to do that are majorly in the north. We have Zamfara, Taraba, Kaduna, Kano, and about some other two states that have not domesticated this particular law. So
Okay, I
that
apologize for
law,
the setting.
specifically in
Yes.
section,
Thank you. So you
yeah,
were saying about the states that have domesticated, and it's
yeah,
interesting that I find myself going back and forth to go and check the chart as to the states' domestication. So I found
yeah,
that for a long while it stood at 32. But interestingly, this year, just as you had said, Zamfara is still yet to domesticate. Zamfara hasn't. Lagos State still hasn't. They have a law that looks like it, but they have not. And I really just wanted to point this out to you particularly. That's why I had to interject. So I think so far we have about 34 states that have
yeah.
domesticated. Thank you.
Okay. So thank you for that. Yeah, Lagos State, one thing about law is there is really no point duplicating laws. There are sometimes a law is made at the federal government, some of the state has already had it, and so there's really no point domesticating it. But one thing I found interesting about laws regarding female genital mutilation is that even the federal law itself, does not actually even define what circumcision is. The law says in section 6 here of VAP Act that circumcision and female genital mutilation is now prohibited. But unfortunately, it didn't even, because usually law will explain what, if you read that law, when it comes to rape, it expatiated and in fact, you know, gave us what rape is, that it's not just penetration in the genitals, it could be in the mouth, it could be in any other part of the body, but when it comes to female genital mutilation, this kind of depth definition was not done. It only said that female genital mutilation is now prohibited. So I mean, I'm a lawyer. These are the kind of loopholes we look out for in law when this kind of laws now comes into being interpreted before the court of law. So those are one of the challenges of that particular law. And aside that, another thing I found kind of intriguing is the fact that in that law, when it comes to reporting of female genital mutilation, it's not an offense if I see it and I choose not to report it. Okay, that law is not categorically saying that non-reporting of it is an offense. However, there are other laws in the country that you can hide under to say that, okay, I cannot look away when a crime is being committed, right? So these are the, I mean, that I don't want to go into the too deep law part of it, but I just think that for a law like this that is supposedly to be protecting the future of girls, to be protecting their, I mean, because mutilation also has to do with the medical side of things. The instrument that are used in cutting these girls also could be contaminated. It could lead to other spread of diseases like HIV and other forms, because they are not being sterilized, and a whole lot of medical implication to it. So if we are implementing laws, or making laws that is supposedly to protect and guide the health of girls, I think that we should be meticulous about it. We should pay a lot of details and attention to such laws. So on the domesticating of the law, progress is being made, but the question that we have to now ask ourselves is, how is it being implemented? How many reports have we had? Or does it mean, I mean, Mama was here to say 98% sometimes ago, now 92%. It then means that these things are still done. But why are there no people reporting? Why is it that we don't have any case or case study in Nigeria to say, okay, so person was convicted of doing mutilation or mutilating a girl, whether as a practitioner or as because the law also say that you are even encouraging somebody to do it is a crime. So if I'm encouraging my neighbor to mutilate his girl or her girl, that means that I am committing a crime. That's what the law says. And I could pay a fine of 100,000 naira, or I go to prison of about 2 years. So does it mean this act is not being done? So if we have all agreed that every day this act is still being done, girls are still being caught, why is it that we don't have reports at the police station? Why is it that we don't have cases being prosecuted in court of law? Why do we not have case studies? Why do we not have precedent of people who have been prosecuted or convicted of such act? And the answer is not really far-fetched. This thing happens within the family, and most of the time fathers, mothers, aunties, neighbors are the ones encouraging and actually carrying out these things. And just because of that, it's so hard. And Nigeria, not only Nigeria, I think in Africa, we are family oriented. We love our families. So nobody really want to report their mother or their sister for doing such an act, and ensuring, even when we have reports, maybe in the community square or something, the worst that will happen is probably the one the person, everybody looks at the person one type of way, and that ends it. But I think we have to get to the point where the dictate of the law is actually being carried out, and that would speak to the seriousness of we eradicating FGM. I would think, or I would like to think, that we are not serious yet until we have one or two examples, and everybody is talking about these examples. Then people will not then start to see that this is a serious fight, and it's high time that we stopped this mutilation. So on execution, our execution is terribly low. Implementation of the law is terribly low, and that's, like I said, is because it's happening within the family, and people are not really comfortable calling out their family or loved one on such issues that could take away their freedom, or that could take away their life or their monies, or whatever it is that the consequence is. So basically, I think I'll stop there. That's what the law is in Nigeria, and for those states that have domesticated it. Across Africa, I want to believe that government is also taking steps. But I say the government would take steps by passing laws, and but when it comes to the implementation of law, it's not just the government. We as the people, we as advocates, the people of the country, we have a whole lot to play, a whole lot of huge role to play. Because if mutilation is happening right here in my room, there is no how the government will hear of it. There is no how the police will hear of it. There is no how it will get to court if nobody is reporting. So when it comes to reporting and eventually prosecuting and getting somebody convicted of this kind of act, we as advocates have a lot to do. We as Nigerian citizens and African as a whole, we have a whole lot to do. So I would encourage us all not to just talk, but act. I mean, people will call you out for acting sometimes, but these are the pain we have to go through sometimes. I mean, there is a recent case of a man in Nigeria that was convicted of rape, defiling young girls. And it was the wife that called him out. I am sure wherever the wife is now, her family, the family of the husband, and the old neighbors and everybody, they're looking at her in some kind of way. But if she hadn't taken that step, who knows how many other girls will be a victim of this harm? And those are the kind of pain we really have to take. We really have to, pass through as advocates if we are really, really serious. And we think that, Melanie mentioned that achieving 2030 is like we have to take 10 times more action. And these are the kind of action that is needed. So we cannot just have laws everywhere. We have beautiful laws in Nigeria, but implementation is terrible. Implementation is like incredibly low. So, and for us to get there, we need to be able to take on some pain. Thank you. And thanks for having me. Good evening again.
Good evening again. Thank you so much for coming. Are we not blessed to have you? Thank you. So, I mean, I heard you speak from your heart. And, when we talk the law, most of the time, we like to just think it's something theoretical. But, it's in the implementation of the fact that there is a Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act in Nigeria that we can find the solution to the problem we have at hand. It is a big problem. We're not even kidding one another. I mean, when we say those of us who are mutilated have already been mutilated, so the deal is done. But I am more concerned about the next girl in these communities of Princess V.O. Adetono, in the community of your birth, Oluyemi, in the community of Caroline Titia in Kenya, in the community of Dr. Pamela, in the community of Mohammed Adebisi, who is a member of the Don't Quota Move, and is going to say, no, they don't mutilate in my community, which brings me back to the Lagos State factor. So Lagos State is a bit peculiar, and I apologize for interjecting the other time. It was just because I wanted to bring it in and allow you, to just fly on it. Because Lagos tells you female genital mutilation is not being done in Lagos, whereas this, which may be true, which is the fact that may say that natives of Lagos State do not practice this act. Essentially to say, like, it is domiciled in states like Oyo, in Oshun, it is high in Ekiti also, and several other states of the country. But in Lagos State, because of migration, female genital mutilation is a big deal. I heard you say that somebody whose neighbor was going to, and this and that, and you essentially say to yourself, why should I continue to advocate in Lagos State? So many people have approached me and said, the noise you're making in Lagos State may not be necessary. And then I say to them, every time I hear people call me, chat me up from regions deep inside Lagos State, Ikorodu, and a host of other communities to say, hey, my landlady does this to women in the community. Now, you speak to you going all out for advocacy. I remember the case of the report of my landlady does this for girls in our community in Ikorodu. That was during the lockdown and we couldn't go out, but we continued to engage. And when it was time for me to pay a visit to Ikorodu and essentially be able to put my eyeball, set my eye on this said woman, Oluyemi, will surprise you that the woman who had reached out to say this and that literally went silent. For a long time was on the fence, and after a while could not even pull through with the promise of, yes, my landlady does this and I need you guys, to get on a case. And again, it lastly speaks to the breaking the culture of silence thing, which is number one in winning the war against anything sexual and gender-based violence. And of course, particularly female genital mutilation. Why? Because most people, the people who do female genital mutilation to you are your family members. You may be raped by your family members or not, but for female genital mutilation to happen, your family members must, this is in capital letters, your mother, your aunt, your brother, maybe your uncles, maybe in households, because of how big patriarchy is, in households where the fathers insist that their girls must be caught. You see grandmothers, you see aunts literally transporting their girl children back to their villages to ensure that they get caught. So these are the big issues. And I love how you ended it around the silence culture, around how when people do not talk, how do we get on with the fight? How do we make somebody pay? Making somebody pay is not because we want to be wicked. It's not because we want to show to the world that we can punish people. No, it's to be able to show the extent to which the law is able to go to establish this as a crime and to establish that we cannot continue to tolerate this. Zero tolerance against female genital mutilation means we do not want it anymore. Full stop. Let our girls actually be free of this practice. Mama Ruperdin Princess B.O. Adeton only talk about the impact on her. And I believe in the video that we have premiering today, we have a video debuting today. It was filmed in the Netherlands earlier this year when I went for a training, along with other Nigerian ladies, right? Who are ladies who have actually seen the impact of female genital mutilation. And we're able to do this seeming short drama to be able to educate people on what we all need to do to stop female genital mutilation. So on that note, I've got to say thank you so much, Oluyemi. Thank you. Thank you. And on the law in Lagos State, I love how you spoke to the fact that, yes, they have a law in existence and they're trying not to duplicate it, which is why VAP Act is still not domesticated yet. But recently, I learned that they are working hard at getting the VAP Act domesticated so that they can inculcate the parts that you said was not properly itemized in their own law, so that they can inculcate and adopt these things. And then we can truly have something that we can test when there is an arrest on female genital mutilation. Thank you very much, Oluyemi.
And I can assure you that Lagos States don't joke when it comes to gender-based violence. So when you have that law, be sure that the first case study or precedent will come in from Lagos State.
I am looking forward to it. Trust me, I am. Thank you very much, Oluyemi. I mean, this has been so insightful. We're grateful for your time and your resource on this particular webinar. It's our town hall, and we shall continue to talk. Talk is what women do, and we shall continue to talk. So very quickly, we would have Caroline Titia from Kenya. The plan was to start this from Kenya, and she's right here. So we would have Caroline, who is an advocate. She's a female genital mutilation awareness advocate. So I think Caroline just went off again. It's been a bit of a network battle with Caroline today, but I am looking forward to sorting this all out and having Caroline talk to us. Trust me, I think I'm the one itching the most to hear Caroline talk to us. I asked her personally, Caroline, were you mutilated? And then she says, no, I wasn't mutilated. And I simply have looked at the passion of a young woman who is unmutilated, but goes ahead to actively advocate against the practice. Don't you think it's worth asking her how she got on this and why the passion to go all out advocating against female genital mutilation? Again, everyone, this is our town hall. In Nigeria, as they like to say, this is a town hall different from a ballot blue. You can finish the rest of that conversation. Thank you, everyone who's watching. I can see eyeballs. I can see comments. Notably, I see Asad Abdul Wahab. She says she's watching from Zaria. Adeleye Adegboyega, thank you. I also see Bukolua Abraham. I see Abimbola Akinwumiju. I see quite a number of people. Now, I'm going to yield the floor over to Adebisi. Let me see if Caroline is back. So Caroline is back. And I'm going to attempt to have Caroline before we have Mohammed Adebisi, who is a team member of the Don't Cut Her movement. So again, now we have Caroline, and I'm bringing you back on. Caroline, good evening once again. How are you? Hi, Caroline. Hi, Caroline. Your video is on, and we can hear you. Keep speaking. Keep speaking, Caroline. You can talk now. Talk. Go ahead, Caroline. Good evening.
Hello everyone.
Just go ahead. Just go ahead and talk. Yes, good
I'm
evening. You're
sure y'all can
welcome.
hear me.
We've been rooting
We're
for
going
you.
to network
Yes, please.
problem. I'm just going to have
I
to
know. I
be
know.
in difficult position.
We are hearing you. Please have me put it on the chat box so she sees. We are hearing you. We can hear you, as they say in English. You see this, we are hearing you in Nigerian English. We can hear you. We can hear you. So please go ahead and talk to us. Please help me say to her on the chat box, everyone, that we can hear her. She needs to know that we can hear her. Caroline, please go on. We can hear you. Go ahead. Please go on. Oh, I think I lost Caroline again. I'm not giving up. Trust me. You know what they say. If we become persistent enough, we're able to achieve this. I'm going to permit. I think she's back on. Okay, is she? Okay, so while we wait for Caroline, everyone, not to waste our time because we know that this is precious, please make welcome with me my very amiable colleague. His name is Mohammed Adebisi. And when I had said this is a town hall different from the Bala Blue, I'm sure he went off for a moment to have a good laugh. He alone would understand why I would say he would go off to have a good laugh. So please celebrate with me, Mohammed. Mohammed is talking to us very briefly on the Don't Cut Her campaign initiative, what we are doing, what we have done, and what we intend to do. Thank you so much, Mohammed. Now you own the floor. We cannot hear you. We cannot hear you. Please check your audio. Please check your audio, Mohammed. We cannot hear you. Please check your audio. Please unmute. Okay, I believe Mohammed is getting on unmuting. Mohammed, please unmute. Okay. All right. Please speak. Let's see if that's fixed. Hello. Hello. Oh no, we still cannot hear you. And we're supposed to. We're supposed to be able to. Okay. Okay. While we're sorting that, Mohammed, still try and figure out with the audio. Try and figure out with the audio. Let me introduce our short video for a bit. Let me introduce it just for a bit. Please keep working on that, Mohammed. Thank you. Okay, so while Mohammed is working on that, I quickly want to introduce our short video for a bit. And here we go. My name is Melanie, and this is my story. 3 years ago, I found that I was mutilated. That was at age 33, after I've had grandchildren. And now it made sense when I found out. My name is Melanie, and this is my story. 3 years ago, I found that I was mutilated. That was at age 33, after I've had 2 different children. And now it made sense when I found out, because then it explained why I had episiotomy. No, not the doctors cutting me. My baby's heads tearing me apart each time I had to be delivered of them. And in those cases, I had to heal from the pain of episiotomy. And you ask any woman, episiotomy could even hurt, but the sewing back after episiotomy could hurt more than delivering the baby itself. What's more, it explained also why there are a lot of question marks on my matrimonial bed, the painful sexual intercourses, and the painful menstruations, and a lot more. But what's more important is that my mom said to me, she's repented because she's learned that it's Okay, did anybody enjoy that? Please let me see in the comment section. Did you see that coming on? How is that short film coming on? How is that short film coming on? Let me see your comment in the chat box. Let me see your comment. How is that short film coming on? Are you as excited as I am that we're about to debut premiere these as well as today? Thank you so much, Dr. Pamela. Thank you. I see. Yes, thank you for being able to share my experience. Thank you. Okay, now Mohammed is still right here, and I want him to take us before we move on to our other parts of the conversation. All right, so Mohammed, I'm bringing you right back. I cannot see you. Please, where is your video, Mohammed? Oh, thank you, Afsat. She said terrific. Thank you. Right, thank you, thank you. We're bringing the rest on after we've had Mohammed and we've had, I should think I would go to Dr. Kethuru, but I hope that it would be Caroline. I know that she's trying to sort out how to get back on so we can hear her speak. So Mohammed, I'm bringing you back on.
Okay.
Hello, Mohammed.
Hello, good evening, Mo.
Excellent. Good evening, everyone. Mohammed is right here. I'm happy to introduce to you a member of the Don't Cut Her movement. I think apart from my husband and my 3 kids who are boys, Mohammed is the male member advocating against female genital mutilation. Let there be some claps in the chat box, please. It is a lot to identify with a female cause like the female genital mutilation, and we do not take it for granted. Mohammed, you own the floor.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Mohammed from Lagos, Nigeria, particularly Ikorodu local government of Lagos State. I joined the team in 2021. That was exactly a year after my service, my compulsory NYSC. So when I joined the team with the mindset of, okay, what is this female genital mutilation? Of course, when we talk about mutilation, that's like obstruction of the body parts. Mutilation could come, of course, it come in different variants. We could say mutilation could mean to destroy, to alter, or to reconstruct. But in this case, female genital mutilation, that's like a reconstruction of the female genital parts. And I kept wondering to myself, I kept telling myself that what could be that thing about woman and wanting to alter the functional capability of their co-woman. This natural thing that God Himself has built in a woman. Why would mere mortals want to alter it? I did my research about it, and I kind of realized that this practice is like an age-long practice which has been in existence for long, and come to think of it, it has no special benefits basically aside psychosexual pleasure. There's just this mindset of thing for a girl child. Either she likes or she doesn't like it. I need to do it to fulfill all consciousness, so to say. So I made my research, and I did my research on it, the meaning, how it is being done, how they get to do it, and what do the participant get to gain. Over time, I realized that the people who do this thing do not have a particular reason for doing it, but the victims whom they inflict the injuries on, they are the one that bear the brunt of it. So I met Auntie Melanie Inshallah through one of my sisters. So we decided to be like, okay, she's a FGM advocate, and of course my passion grew for it immediately after my research. And of course the fact that our world today believes that the girl child has to really be, she's not as strong as a male person. Even when you try to, the girl child basically have this flexibility that is what they are born naturally. And if you try to straighten them or try to discipline them, you might end up breaking them. So you have to handle them with absolute care. And the absolute care, just like, okay, what is the way forward against this practice? It's not a practice that can be eradicated. It can be eradicated, I'm going to choose it within myself, within the my ability of being a public speaker, and my ability, of course, being a science enthusiast, of course, studying microbiology. I wanted to know the intrinsic factors that are actually present. So I took it up to myself. I started advocacy in my local government here. That was Ikorodu West local LCDA. Spoke to the stakeholders of the local government and see, okay, how can we bring people together? What we mean bring people together, the political stakeholders, the traditional stakeholders, and the religious stakeholders, bring them together. Okay, why do you use this practice? This practice has no benefit whatsoever. Because if we're going to look at your claims, which I said they are just psychosexual, you're trying to prevent a girl child from being promiscuous, as it is, like from being having the urge for sex and the likes. That's like your own thing. But while trying to give your own excuses for doing the FGM practice, you're not bothered, or let me say, you're not worried about the obstruction of of a natural system. The body is meant to function in a particular way, the way it's been engineered by our creator. But by tampering with it, either through incision, either through lateral, because the FGM, I found that it has different categories: type 1, type 2, type 3. Of course, the time won't allow us to list that. But none of this practice actually has medical advantage. Of course, the main reason why we have scientists is to make sure they guide us through our normal health process, or the normal function of our body system. This practice FGM has no medical benefit whatsoever. And like I said, I've been talking about a microbiologist that I am. I get to realize that most of the instruments they use for this practice, they are non-sterilized. When I mean non-sterilized, they are exposed directly to microorganisms. And the fact that they're exposed directly to microorganisms, by claiming to solve an issue in the genital part of a lady or of a girl, you are inflicting more damage to her through disease. Let me just break it down in a way we can understand. As a microbiologist, we get to understand that the most cleanest objects, yes, let me use the word objects, in the world today is a newborn baby, in the sense that he or she has no flora in the body system, has no disease in the body system. But the moment you bring that child out of our mother's womb, that child begins to be prone to disease, either through the hand of the nurse touching her, or maybe the instrument, or maybe the clothes you use in carrying her, and the likes. Now, for a female, for a girl child, which you are using medical equipment to cut her, that is like to alter her body functioning, you are inflicting more disease to her. And this thing, like I said earlier, even the people practicing it, they don't even know the disadvantages. They are only concerned about fulfilling their own personal righteousness. So we started the advocacy into Ikorodu West. We were able to we present a documentary to the help of Auntie Melanie, of course, and she shared her experience. And there were testimonials right there before we left the sensitization on that particular day, when they confessed that, oh, they did it out of negligence. They did it out of the mindset of, okay, we are just doing this thing because it's a practice we met from our ancient fathers. Then we don't have a substantial reason for actually doing this. Let the girl child be. By inflicting damage on her, you hurt her body system, you make her prone to disease, you make her prone to depression, you know that's bleeding effect that comes out during the decision process could make her depressed. I mean, inability to even work properly. There are also factors and complications during childbirth, because, of course, like I said, I don't want to go into details, but by altering a genital part, I mean, during your either incision, either lateral cutting, or so the extra skin that is actually meant to be helping her, maybe when she's giving birth, that is the extracellular lining of the genital part, you've cut it away. So which is why the birth process when a woman is giving breast, like say 50 on its own, when she doesn't have extra skin to cover for it, it makes it hard. Then you have to resort to CS section, that is just a section. So there are no justifications for these things basically. Then the stakeholders and they went to like, okay, they will understand. Now we also just realize that the brought some medical professionals in.
Mohammed, I think there is something with your audio. Your audio is jumping by, it's keeping seemingly.
Okay. What about now?
Okay. Okay, yes.
They have to bring some medical professionals inside to tell them, to help them through the mutilation process. But consequently, during our research, we realize that most of the medical professionals that even bringing in, they are part of the FGM practice themselves. In the sense that they also have no justification for doing this. They are only doing it because of their personal gains. Of course, the stipend they get to collect inside it. But at the same time, they keep on altering the female body system. We took it down from Ikorodu West local government, from Ikorodu West OCDA to Ikulu government, went as far as Island and major local government in Lagos State, with the mindset of sensitization. And over the years, or let me say, yeah, over the years, this 2021, 2023, we've been able to at least give substantial record that, okay, the stakeholders have been able to agree with us. This thing has no particular benefits. Just let the girl child be. She's not as strong as you want to make her to be. Just eradicate this practice. Of course, like you said, as part of the SDG goes on gender equality, because by altering a system, by disrupting normal hormonal balance, you've been able to align her, or let me say stigmatize her from society. So part of the SDG goals which we are trying to like to attain in our country of origin, let me say in Africa basically, it's trying to make sure that this process is completely abandoned. When we did also extended our research, we realized that the former President Goodluck Jonathan, during his time, he made the law about prohibition of violence against child and against women. But this law has not been enacted because the state assemblies of each state, they don't recognize it, so to say. So as she mentioned the other time when she was talking about I am a political enthusiast, so to say. In a political party. So I believe that I could still use my influence to speak with the people I can speak with. But at the same time, I need more and more people on board. Then the final note, just to tell you how we've gone. When I started this advocacy, it felt like the only man in a human library. So it has in English. What I did for the needs of women. But I gave my friends, people I told me, really is why I choose this path. They were like, wow, this is such a distinctive fact. And okay, when I started posting the messages, like this instant practice, I showed them the data. Like, okay, so there was something I wanted to do recently. Then one of my friends told me that, Mohammed, why not just do this anti-FGM thing? So that's to show you that people are watching what I've been doing, and that's like one big commendation for me. And it's one reason why I always want to keep doing it. And I'm very sure like I said, it means move 10 times faster. I am particularly interested in this, and I want to go extra lengths just to make sure that the girl child have a life again. Thank you very much. Subsequently, we would have a convo.
Thank you so much, Mohammed. I hope I didn't get you off too soon. All right, thank you so much, Mohammed. I mean, you spoke from your heart. There was seemingly an obstruction in your audio, but of course, for the people who are so pertinent about hearing you, I'm sure everybody stayed on, and people kept saying intriguing, well done, bravo, Mr. Mo. Now you have a new nickname. We shall continue to call you Mr. Mo. And so the last point you spoke to, thank you, Mohammed, thank you. I mean, Mohammed did speak well, and the last point he spoke to was how he's looking to get more education with regards to female genital mutilation, and he's making his application. He has put it together. I am so proud to say I look forward to him getting on board, right, the platform, the school where he wants to go to be able to get educated and be able to help the girls back home in Africa. Thank you, Mohammed. I think it's been so exciting. And at this juncture, we shall have the premiere. I think it's high time that we just got on straight with it. At this juncture, we shall have the premiere. And we have all been waiting for this moment. And so if you're excited as I am, let me see your clap in the chat box. Clap, jump, shake. I'm shaking. And now we're going on from the start all over again to watch our short film produced not just by me, by about 3 of us. And we had the collaboration of other ladies and guys as well in the Netherlands earlier this year when we took a training on media campaign for social change and advocacy at the Regional Netherlands Training Center. So now, ladies and gentlemen, I am happy to unveil what we put together, hoping that this would not just introduce to you the pain of a woman who goes through female genital mutilation, but also the importance of having you join us in speaking up against this practice. My name is Melanie, and this is my story. 3 years ago, I thought I was mutilated. At age 33, I had 2 different children. And now it made sense because then it explained why I had episiotomy. No, not the doctors cutting me. My baby's heads tearing me apart each time I had to deliver them. And in those cases, I had to heal from the pain of episiotomy. And the woman, episiotomy could even hurt, but the sewing back after episiotomy could hurt more than delivering the baby itself. What's more, it explained also why there are a lot of question marks on my matrimonial bed, the painful sexual intercourses, and the painful menstruations, and a lot more. But what's more important is that my mom said to me, she's repented because she's learned that it's
Oh, my God. Welcome. How are you? What brings you to my house? Good news. I'm about to go and say my MO. Ah, well done. It's good news I've got. Who doesn't like good news? My dear. So for me, my child. Mommy. Just give him birth. No. We need a fit. Yes. No. Let us be good. Yes. Oh, you don't want me to come and help? No, you help me. We say to Baba. I'm like this. My granddaughter is upset. It's got Mommy, when I told you. Do you know? Yes. You're not a woman. I shouldn't be related with you. Relation. Why would you not circumcise? You know, year when bad is sex. There are female circumcision. You do not hear when look at me, the shaman. That is why you not circumcise. See, that's female circumcision trend. I don't have put mouth inside there. You be there in the past. No more female circumcision. It's problem for our children. You're not seeing what's happening to your daughter. How many children? No, it's not me. Sorry, don't vex. But I am not a grandmother yet. Sorry, don't vex. Hey, if you see the way I did shower born. I see Wala. You saying because it's not. Yes. That is the problem. See, leave out and stomach. Sorry, I'm my problem. You are. Is that why my daughter's ancestors? Munira has not given birth. Yes. So that is why I'm not a grandmother. Why you are thinking about it? Let me go and bath my child. I say I should come and tell you as per Remy Atata. We say my dear. From now on. Congratulations. You help your daughter. She will go one way or the other. She will go. No circumcision, anything. No journey to womanhood. Oh yeah. Thank you, my sister. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I believe that we enjoyed that. Please Let me see reactions in the chat box if we enjoyed that. And so, not to waste our time, I know that Caroline, yes, is now ready for us. And I'm just going to yield the baton over to Caroline. Yes, Caroline, let's do this. Good evening once again, sister. Good evening once again, sister. Dear Caroline. Hello, Caroline. Caroline spoke to me in private and said she was getting demotivated, and I kept encouraging her not to be. And I'm glad that she's still here, giving it all it takes to be able to join us. And while I'm trying to sort that, and I appreciate everyone also who is insisting on having Caroline talk to us, I'm taking it to none other than Dr. Pamela Kituru. And Dr. Pamela here is a phenomenal woman. I'm going to tell you briefly of how I'd met her. And when my friend, my media friend in Kenya, had interviewed me on this day at Nairobi, and then I said to him, oh, I have a webinar coming on, and I'm looking for a cross-continent collaboration. And then he says, I have somebody who should be there with you. And I reached out to Dr. Pamela. We had never met over WhatsApp. I didn't even put a call across. And she was so warm. And you know, I once just drew me in, and then I said, well, I believe this is an idea whose time has come for it to be hatched. And while we are hatching this idea and this plan, and we have all of you joining us right now on our very first Women Town Hall meeting tagged Women's Square Africa, in which case we have the theme as Female Genital Mutilation, the Girl Child, and the Future. I have Dr. Pamela Kituru join me. She's a researcher and she's equally a psychologist. She has a lot to open up to us on where sexual and gender-based violence is concerned, where female genital mutilation particularly is concerned. Thank you so much, all the way from Kenya, Dr. Kituru. I am more than delighted to have you. It's a blessing, actually, to have you.
And great. Good evening, everyone. I've been introduced, so I don't need to belabor that, but I'm so glad to be here to share with us as a people on this very pertinent topic, female genital mutilation. And thank you, Melody, for the invitation. And thank you, every of the speakers that have spoken before me. We actually all agree that this is a practice that we need to be able to stop, especially so that we don't disadvantage our girls, so that we don't disadvantage our women. And we know that if with this practice, the disadvantages that we are putting our women to, of course, affects socioeconomic development. We need to be able to look at this from a bigger picture so that we can appreciate. And from where I stand, knowledge is power. I know I subscribe to the Bible. The Bible says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. And understanding of a thing will actually help us do it correctly. So when I look at what motivates FGM in our societies, and especially in the African societies, is the belief that we hold concerning sexual behavior. So that in some cultures, they will say, we want to tame the girl so that she doesn't become promiscuous. And yet, at the end of the day, go violating her. It's associated with some level of modesty in some societies, such that if you are not cut, then you are looked at negatively. There is some kind of stigma, especially in the societies that are practicing it to a great extent. The social acceptance of the FGM, this cut, that the society accepts it, is actually fueling the action still. the low level of awareness, which you have heard Mami Victoria point to, that she discovered that it was the wrong thing that she was doing. So then what it means that when knowledge is not out there, when this cultural practice is not faced with evidences of the impact of it to the girl, to the family, to the society, then it will still be perpetuated. So we need to create awareness as much as possible. We need to be able to remove the ignorance on the reproductive health that surrounds female genital mutilation, so that the local communities are able to understand the impact of female genital mutilation. And tying this to the fact that it affects the physical structure of the girl. It has physical implications, the pain that this person goes through, the likely infections that they may encounter, the fact that their menstruation also is affected, especially when it is done so severely that they are not even able to discharge as they ought to. The childbirth complications that come with it need to be out there, that it is so detrimental that there is no value to what we are doing. It can cause hemorrhage, and it has caused death to children because to the young girls, because they bleed to death, being done with very ordinary tools by people who are not even trained, and again, for no value at all. The procedure itself is so painful, and it is not beneficial. The fact that the girl will have problem during childbirth. Imagine sexual intercourse becomes difficult. Then, of course, it happens with a lot of pain and psychological trauma to not only the woman, but also to the partner, who is the male partner. It becomes traumatizing for them. So this should be understood. The psychological trauma that it causes to the child. The young girl trusts the parents, trusts the elders, and knows they cannot put her through pain. But then they bring this pain to her, and she doesn't understand why she has to go through this pain. So psychologically, she is so traumatized. It actually has long-lasting emotional pains to the child. It can lead to psychological disorders to some extent, the stress, the trauma that it resorts to. In fact, to some extent, to even trigger anxiety, which is a mental disorder. FGM, of course, affects the education of the girl. For some of them, it is readiness to get married, if that is what the culture upholds, and we know that. So this girl's future, education-wise, is cut, because now she is married off at that early age, and she starts bearing children. It is a child bearing other children, and with a lot of pain, which even causes her shame, causes her a lot of hunger. And you can imagine, if you have to bear a child with pain, extreme pain, will you even love that child? You'll always, every time there is an encounter, a sexual encounter, every time this woman has to go and deliver, of course, we are calling her a woman, and yet she is probably underage, below 18. So our education is limited, therefore depriving the society of a skill, because this person would have continued with their education, maybe fulfilled a vision, become a professional, and be able to contribute to the social development of our nations. And we need to be able, as I always point out, the bigger picture should be clear. It is also against the human rights of this child. No one is supposed to be subjected to pain. It is infringing on the right of the girl, of the woman. So we have to eradicate FGM because it is so disempowering. And we need to be able to do this by encouraging dialogues, like what our sister Ishola has done. This is very, very important, bringing people together to be able to deliberate what is the benefit of this. Can our leaders understand? Do the communities understand? Do the women understand? Do the men themselves understand? Because in a society where the belief is a man cannot marry a woman who is not circumcised, as they call it, and yet it is actually mutilation. So if the men can be able to buy to the fact that scientifically there is no value, socially there is no value, in fact it is more detrimental than it would be beneficial if there is any benefit. So we need to be able to invest a lot of resources in healthcare as a way of passing this information. We need to strengthen our systems by the laws that we pass. And that's why you see, like us in Kenya, we have a law that was passed in 2011 that is against FGM. In fact, we have a home board or a government agency that has all the infrastructure to ensure that FGM is not perpetuated, but yet still it is happening, because a study that was done in 2022 shows that like 15% of FGM, I mean, of the women between 15 to 49 years have gone through FGM in the 21st century. And that's why it has to be legislated. And yet, as it were, the best legislation that we can have is self-control. The best legislation that we can have is actually being aware as a person and putting it to your heart that I will not engage in this, and I will become an advocate to show that it is not the right thing to do. And therefore brings me to the fact that as nations, we have to put initiatives in place. For example, in my country, Kenya, community engagement and awareness is very key. So that this body that is anti-FGM board that has full infrastructure, including staff, including funding, has a responsibility to pass the information to the communities, getting the right opinion leaders, the civil society, the faith-based organization, the community leaders to engage in this discussion so that we can be able to stop these excesses or kind of an unholy belief. We are training and building capacity of professionals so that even they can be able to go out there and pass the same message, empowering the girls themselves and even the boys so that they can remove that belief, that value that they think this brings to them. So programs are rolled out at the community level for the girls, for the boys. And that brings me to the fact that we have alternative rites of passage, because FGM was seen as a rite of passage for the girls, just as we have the circumcision as a rite of passage for the men. So in the alternative rite of passage, the girls in those societies are brought together with the boys and taught the things that they would have been taught during that period that are beneficial to them: education, the sexual education, nutrition, the importance of education, the importance of taking care of their bodies, so that alternatively they are taught the values that were thought to be taught during that rite of passage. But of course, there are challenges. And I know we share a lot as African countries. There are a lot of challenges that we are faced with, and especially dealing with the culture, the beliefs, the values, the societal pressure, the lack of knowledge is a big challenge that we have to scale over. And the laws are helpful, but then we have a challenge of also cross-border initiatives. Because let's say as nations, if a certain country is fighting the the FGM, then the neighboring country or the neighboring community doesn't. So the girls are moved from this community to the other during that period of the SGM. So they are cut and they come back when they have already been cut, you know. So those barriers exist and we need to be able to scale over them, the perceptions, the cultural values, the influences, and of course, engaging the males in it, the men as champions, because the psychological support also needs to be put in place for those who have gone through the FGM because they have psychologically been affected. Psychological support is very, very important so that they can be helped to heal from the pain psychologically, because of course physically the pain still exists. For those who started with us, you heard the voice of Victoria, that really for her, she can testify of the pain of it. We also have to have trauma-informed care so that the trauma that those young people go through, the trauma that maybe the family goes through, when a mother knows the pain they went through and they have to put their daughter through the same pain because of fitting in the society, causes trauma to the mother, causes trauma to the elder girls, causes trauma to those who understand what this is. So we have to have trauma-informed care so that professionals are brought on board. Counselors, psychologists are brought on board. The medical fraternity are also educated so that they can be able to pass the right message. Counseling and therapy is very, very important so that we can understand what this is all about. Support groups, so that we can have support groups within the communities to help girls share, so that those who even have not gone through it can be able to share the benefits, their life experiences of not being there, just as the others share their life experiences. And as we compare notes, then we can have a connection as women. We can have a connection as a people to be able to fight this. Psycho-education. We need to be able to go out as much as possible and pass the information that there is no value in this, that it is against the law, that is you are violating the human rights. You are actually putting this girl and this marriage, future marriage, at risk. How many of our girls who have gone through FGM are not able to give birth well, and therefore likely even the child can be, the child can actually die, even as the mother is trying to give birth, and also the girls can bleed and die. So we need this information out there because information is power. But even as we do this, we do it with a cultural sensitivity. Cultural sensitivity in the sense that we are not demonizing that belief, but we are trying to say, yes, you hold this belief, but science has proven, education has proven that it is of no value. So we respect the belief, but now there is new knowledge, there is new evidence, and here are testimonies that can tell you needs to be done, it needs not to be done, because there are better ways of helping the girl. If you thought that by her not being cut, she's going to have a lot of need to have sex and therefore become promiscuous, then let us teach the girls on sexual education so that they'll be able to know the place of sex. What is sex? How is it important? With who and why? So that even them, they can be able to enjoy the sex, so that they can know it is not only about procreation. It has also other values, even psychologically for the person. So holistic care is very, very important. Collaboration, just as you heard Mami Victoria say, we need to collaborate. We need resources. We need governments to put resources in these programs so that Africa can be free of this. Advocacy is key, and I believe every one of us has a voice to say we need to be able to stop this. So as I stop, I need to say that FGM destroys the childhood of a girl. FGM limits the woman. FGM has no value, and all of us need to take action because FGM is a violation to the right of this child. It is against us reaching even the sustainable development goals. It is against the laws of the countries that have actually signed to the SDGs as the United Nations. And it is very, very important that we speak to ourselves and put value in the put value in caring for our women, caring for our girls, because the future of our development lies with these people. Because if we have a population of people who are in pain and not able to contribute on a daily basis, you are victim. That by the time my husband comes to have sex with me, I am in a lot of pain, and we start creating scenarios that the family is in practice. Then we need to tell ourselves we have to stop this. We have to stop it in a sensitive way. We have to be able to involve as many of us as possible so that our nation, our women can be safe, our girls can be safe, our families can be built, our society can live in harmony. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Dr. Pamela Kaithuru. I mean, underneath, somebody was saying, "Oh, where did you see Dr. Pamela?" And then I said, "These are the things that are possible when we cross pollinate, when we collaborate, right?" And when you start to say that this is my problem, I think we're not getting it in the right frame and perspective. This is not my problem. This is our problem. I listen to you speak, and beyond textbook definitions and journals, which of course, as a researcher, you had read and all of that, you spoke from equally practical points. For example, we understand that FGM is done in most communities as a rite of passage for the girl child. But now, can we reintroduce a new kind of rite of passage, which is hinged on sexual education, and essentially use this to explain to them, yes, we can preach sexual purity. We can tell you this is the purpose of sex. We can tell you wait until before you have sex, and not necessarily deny a girl child a lifelong of pleasure by literally taking off a fold of skin. When I said my advocacy, I would say, oh, a pound of flesh was stolen from me, yet I am not told sorry. Nobody says to me, oh, we apologize, right? Until I had asked my mom eventually, and she had then said, oh, yes, this was done, and we're told not to do this again, but please understand that it is now that we have the understanding of it, that we are not doing it again, right? But I would imagine that at the time that I was caught, according to what that she had said, and she said, a lot of you, we did it to quite a number of you. So that I am assuming that maybe myself, some of my cousins were taken to the Carter's house, and then were caught as a sort of ceremony. And then you look at how not so much was known about it, but now so much is being let out, and we're willing to open up our lives, our pains, our experiences, just as Princess V.O. Adetono, as Mama, has spoken so deeply about her own pain. And some people again would say to you, why must you be the poster child for such a thing as this? And then I say to them, why not be a poster child if it means that more and more families would desist from cutting their girls, and then the future of the girl child, where sexual and gender-based violence relating to female genital mutilation is concerned, is secured. And if we have a hand in securing it, why not? I understand that Titia is equally trying to join. She's tried again. I'm telling her to do it one last time. Okay? Please do it one last time. One last time. All right. Thank you, everyone. I just had to tell her to do it one last time. You know what it is? We don't give up. It is how that's the mark of of womanhood. We don't give up. You know, why we do this is not for ourselves. Why we do this is for the future. Interestingly, I do not have a girl child, but I look forward to my children getting married to women in the future, and for them to have women who are capable of fully maximizing their sexual potentialities. I have literally been affected practically because I was mutilated. One of my friends said to me not long ago that we really do not know why they say marriages, some women have issues in marriages and all of these things. And then I say, like it or not, female genital mutilation has a role to play. In the short film that we debuted now, you saw how of the two women, one said to the other, you see how your daughter is yet to be able to have a child. And some people would say, oh, that's possibly superstition. That is us taking it too far. But no, it is proven by science that female genital mutilation is equally responsible for a degree of infertility. And somebody says, oh, you mean it? And then I said, yes, indeed. And while we are able to put hands on these things as seemingly tangible, there are the intangibles. And Dr. Pamela spoke a lot to a few of the intangibles, the psychological effects of female genital mutilation, the trauma, the post-traumatic stress disorders, and it's just endless. And somebody says to you, you mean for something like circumcision? In Nigeria, they will say, ordinary circumcision. No, it's not ordinary. And if I can use this medium to quickly speak to the type 3 of female genital mutilation, which is infibulation. With infibulation, you see a situation where a girl child has a clitoris cut, the labia minora shaved off, the labia majora sometimes shaved off, sometimes left. In situations where it is left and not shaved off, they sew together. Even where it was shaved off or cut off, they still sew the labia majora, which is the big lip of the vulva, together. What then becomes of this woman? This woman eventually gets married. In communities in Nigeria where this happens, you realize that the male has to introduce an object to cut the woman open for copulation to take place. A knife, something sharp enough. So the woman is caught, she's going through pain, traumatized, and there's still an introduction of the penis, which is in all forms external to the woman who is currently undergoing pain of being cut open for the purpose of copulation. She then goes through that and then becomes pregnant and has to be de-infibulated to have a child. So each child, she's equally re-infibulated to the initial position or situation or condition or whatever the English. For me, it's not about the English. It's about the real life situations of women like me, of women like Princess V.O. Adetono, of women that Caroline Titia of Kenya advocates for women like Dr. Pamela Kethuru, whom the passionate speak about the pain, for women like Oluyemi Orija, who constantly speaks about the law and helps us understand how we can use the instrumentality of the law to fight for the right of the girl child. These are the reasons that we speak. It is for these people that we speak on, and for the future of the girl that we believe should not partake of this pain that women have been subjected. If we continue to blame it on a lot of things, we would only blame it without finding solutions. We could talk to the reasons why this exists without end and not talk to solutions. I'm glad that we've spoken to solutions. And one of the key solutions you spoke on very quickly, Dr. Pamela, was how we can reintroduce a new rite of passage for women, right? For girls, rite of passage for girls, right? And we've spoken about the need for funding, the need for the culture of silence to be broken, in which case people begin to speak up and not feel shame over this phenomenon as other sexual and gender-based violence. I do not know if Adetono is still here. If Princess Adetono is here, I would like for her to answer one or two questions, but I'd like to go to Caroline for a bit. She's back. Hello, Caroline. Hello, Caroline. She's tired, she's stressed, but I just want to be able to celebrate her strength today. the way she has persisted further shows me that we were right to have gone ahead with such a platform as Women's Square Africa. This is the debut conversation, and there will be lots of conversations like this, or deviating from SGBV, but simply talking to the plight of women generally in Africa. Hello, Caroline.
Hello.
Hey, Caroline is here. Good to have
Yeah.
you. I'm just going to allow you to speak
Hello.
now, Caroline. I'm going to allow you to speak. Yes, go ahead. Talk. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
uh, no, it's okay.
Please go ahead.
It,
You may have your session now. I'm grateful that you're able to come on. So you may please go on now, Caroline. Hi, Caroline. Please go on. Please go on. You have the floor. You have the floor, Caroline. Caroline, please speak on. You can talk. So I do not think Caroline can hear me. Can you hear me? Please, if you can hear me, please speak on, Caroline. Please talk, Caroline. Please speak on, Caroline. Okay, so I think this much we can take where Caroline is concerned. This much we can take. And Caroline has really proven, she has shown the strength of a woman today. Trust me. I mean, it takes a lot for you to still want to be on in spite of all. So for the speakers that we have on, I am bringing you back on as we say our goodbyes. Oluyemi Orija's video is not on. In the occasion, it is still not on. We're just going to take it that we've heard her speak to us earlier. So, Princess Adetono, Mama, I'd like for you to speak to us very quickly on how we can sustainably continue to do this advocacy. Sustainably continue to do this advocacy. Sustainably continue to do this advocacy. How have you been able to do it, even with or without funding?
It is through the help of God that we are able to do the little we are doing. And it is what I have interest in. So that has given me the energy that I have to let other people know that what I have encountered in as far as female genital mutilation is concerned, I don't want the future guests to still encounter it. So whether I have money, I have funder, I don't have funder, I continue my own preaching. I continue the sermon to the people, whoever I met, and I have given putting myself down for that job in my community until I see that female genital mutilation become things of the past and is totally eradicated. I will continue struggling with my own small energy that I have.
Thank you so much.
I think I have
Princess.
answered your question.
Yes, you have, Mama. You have, Princess Adetono, you have. And I mean,
All right.
Princess Adetono is a daughter of a king, a past king of Ilua, one of the communities that make up Kajola local government area. So when you see her speak like this, when you see her talk, I followed her to her village where she had introduced me to the regent because they were yet to have another king in place. I should ask if there is a new king now, Mama. Is there a new king now in Ilua? Is there a new king now in Ilua? I do not think she heard me. Okay, so while she had introduced me to the regent and we spoke about the advocacy and why it was done, why the forefathers of the land had said we should do this. However, conclusively, you see how the same regent in the short film had spoken to us about why this should be a thing of the past and we should essentially move on for the purpose of peace and prosperity for the girl child that is already born and yet be born. Thank you so much, everybody who joined us. This has been very expository. This has been very intriguing at the same time. You could say emotions ran wild a few times over talking about some of the really crucial impacts of FGM. However, it is so that we're able to capture the whole essence of why we advocate against female genital mutilation. Dr. Pamela Kethuru, thank you so much for staying in here up until now with me. Thank you. And I'm adding Caroline to this video. Even though she's not been able to speak to us today, we still have on record how that she's been a part of the debut edition of the town hall meeting. And essentially because her presence speaks to how much persistence can pay. And I am taking a lesson from Caroline's persistence to say, even though we seem to be far away from hitting the zero tolerance against female genital mutilation goal, if we continue to persist, we are then able to hit it. We are able to meet up and we are able to overcome and eliminate female genital mutilation. Conclusively, I'd like to say that the reason we advocate is that female genital mutilation essentially speaks to about 4 of the Sustainable Development Goals. Clearly, it speaks to Sustainable Development Goal number 5, and that is gender equality. It also speaks to Sustainable Development Goal number 4, quality education, because you look at how many girls drop off the back of being mutilated and how it affects the education of the girl child. It speaks to the SDG goal number 3, good health and well-being, and it also speaks to SDG goal number 10, reduced inequality. It is a lot of inequality to have the girl child undergo this pain and not have them able to substantially compete with their boy child counterparts, whether in education, on social funds, or any other fund at all in life. This is where we will be drawing the curtain on the debut Women's Square Africa. And I really would quickly like to ask if there are questions as we make a wrap. Do we have anyone with any question at all? I still have Dr. Pamela here. We seem to be the only ones here, Dr. Pamela and Oluyemi Orija. And then we're able to make our contributions and make a wrap. Do we have any questions? Do we have any questions? Do we have any questions? I'm still going to be ending this with a short film produced on the educating us on female genital mutilation. However, I'd like to say that the link to the documentary Don't Cut Her that was produced in the year 2020, released in 2021, is right on my channel. That is Melanie TV. Check on the Melanie TV channel. You will find the documentary tagged Don't Cut Her. Do we have any questions? All right. So I should assume there are no questions there. There have been lots of inspiring comments. Thank you so much, everyone who joined, who continued to inspire us to do this. And again, Dr. Pamela, for being the first woman standing and still woman standing, you and Oluyemi Orija. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you. And this is goodbyes. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Asante Sana.
Asante Sana. Let's do this
Asante
again.
Sana. Let's do this again. Let's do it again.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, everyone. This is where we draw the curtain on today's episode. And in drawing the curtain, I've got to say thank you for joining. And I have to say a big thank you to the entire team of the Don't Cut Her Move. And we have done this. We did this great thing, guys. We need to pop champagne. It's already started. And so we look forward to being able to do the 2.0, 3.0, and of course, possibly in the very near future to hold a physical conference of our town hall series, Women's Care Africa. This is how we end, of course, with what we have coming on with the short film produced in the Netherlands. This is really significant, and we don't take it for granted. So let's do it. Okay, I apologize. I would have to stream that again. I do not know why the video wasn't showing. So what I will do is to re-add that so that we can enjoy it as we make a wrap. And here we go. My name is Melanie, and this is my story. Years ago, I found that I was mutilated. That was at age 3, after I had 2 different children. And now it made sense when I found out, because then it explained why I had episiotomy. No, not the doctors cutting me. My baby's heads tearing me apart each time I had to be delivered of them. And in those cases, I had to heal from the pain of episiotomy. And if you ask any woman, episiotomy could even hurt, but the sewing back after episiotomy could hurt more than delivering the baby itself. What's more, it explained also why there are a lot of question marks on my matrimonial bed, the painful sexual intercourses and the painful menstruations, and a lot more. But what's more important is that my mom said to me, she's repented because she's learned that it's
Good evening, my dear. Welcome. How are you? What brings you to my house? Good news. I'm about to go and say my MO. Well done. It's good news about. Who doesn't like good news? My dear. So for me, my child. Mommy. Just giving birth. My God has been good to you. Yes, he has. Yes, he has. So I said, let me come and tell you. In the next 8 days now, I will be there to help you welcome you don't want me to come and help you? No, you help me. It's to Ramala. Another thing. You see, my granddaughter will not be circumcised. Don't be like that. No. It's got Mommy, let me tell you. Do you know that she was gone and did not even circumcised? Yes. You're not a woman. I shouldn't be relating with you. Relation. Why would you not circumcise her? You did not hear when Bale said it. That female circumcision should end. You did not hear when local government shaman said it in the last meeting. She not circumcised. So, that female circumcision should end. Federal government gonna put mouth inside jail. You be there in the past. No more female circumcision. It's problem for our children. You're not seeing what's happening to your family. How many children? No, sorry, don't vex. That I am not a grandmother. Yes. Sorry, don't vex. Hey, you see the way I am born. Fia. Daddy. Hey, see Wala. Are you saying because she did not? Yes. Wala, that thing is a problem. See, leave the no problem. You are. That one, my daughter's ancestors. Munira has not. So that's why I'm not a grandmother. Why you're thinking about it, let me go and bath my child. I say I should come and tell you as per Remy Atata. We say my dear. From now on. Congratulations. You help your daughter. She will go one way or the other. She will go. No circumcision, anything. No journey to womanhood. Oh yeah. Thank you, my sister. Congratulations. Thank you.
Kí ni ìpalára ló jẹ́ fóbìnrin tí gbádùn kẹ̀kẹ́ ìlera ni torí ìgbà tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ṣíwá lójú àwọn ìwò tó wà ń bẹ̀ kò tẹ̀ sí gbádùn kẹ̀kẹ́ lálẹ́ pẹ̀lú àdábẹ́ yẹn.
Okay, thank you finally, everyone. And this is where we draw the curtain. Once again, thank you, Caroline. Thank you, Princess Vio Adetono. Thank you, Mama. Thank you. Oh, Dr. Kethuru is left. Thank you, Oluyemi Orija. Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you, Toluwalope Abraham, the entire Don't Cutter team. Thank you, everyone who's joined us from all across Nigeria, Kenya, and Africa. Again, we will return. And when we do, it's with another intriguing issue about women. Don't go away. Just keep holding on for us. Goodbye.